Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost, and on this channel we're talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And this video is about when the narcissist knows you're onto them and some tips for how to deal with them, right? So when the narcissist knows that you're onto them, they're likely to get more nasty, yeah? The sort of things that they'll do is they'll start lining up the smear campaign. To be honest, they're always lining up other people's perceptions of you. They're always framing themselves to either be the hero or the victim in the story. Yeah? But for most of us, right, it's hard to imagine how someone we've loved and someone that we've shared so many experiences with and our hearts with can be so vile. Trust me, the narcissist can flip, right? The narcissist can completely flip and in ways that you might not have imagined, right? Some of the horror stories, and feel free to share your stories here, you know, and things that I've gone through where things beyond my imagination, I just didn't see it coming. And I think that's another thing when you're dealing with narcissists is that, you know, we think we've got a handle on them because even if their behavior is abusive or nasty or whatever, we underestimate how far they'll go. Yeah, they have no boundaries when it comes to how awful they'll be. So they are going to smear your name. They're going to make themselves out to be in the right. This is just what they do. They will not take accountability and responsibility for their part in it. This is not a healthy dynamic. Yeah, you're not going to have closure, right? People, the reason they won't give you closure because it keeps you on the hook for the trauma bond, right? Keeps you trauma bonded, but like they've got no interest in making this nice for you. Yeah, they want you trauma bonded. They want to cause you pain. They want you ruminating. That's how they siphon your energy in the psychic realm. But they also want you so hurt. They want to be the most significant person in your life for the worst possible reasons. So they will do things that are so below the bar, right? So the smear campaign is when they manipulate other people's perception of you and what happened, right? Remember, like during the gaslighting and the narcissistic abuse relationship, they've always tried to distort your reality, right? Narcissists are renowned for like denying your reality, denying your emotions and invalidating you, right? So don't think it's any different when it gets to the point where you know that they're onto them. And when you know that they're onto them, when they know that you're onto them is when they're going to plan for a final discard, more than likely, right? But with a narcissist, even a final discard may not be the end of the show. They may still come back and hoover, but be prepared that they're going to put flying monkeys and enablers in play, right, to distort your story, your reality, your version of events. Yeah, what should you do about that? A lot of the time it's honestly better to cut your losses than to start trying to justify, validate and fight your way through. If you are with a narcissist who refuses to take accountability and responsibility, which is what they do, then there's no point trying to validate, justify and excuse yourself, right? You're better off using statements like, I don't see it that way. That's not the way it actually happened. Yeah, that's not the true version of events. And for people that are caring about you and are willing to hear you out, then great. But when you're going through like a difficult time, a smear campaign, right, just be mindful that other people might not have your back. They've been like that, you know. There are times when we were under the spell of the narcissist, other people will be under the spell of the narcissist, and it is a spell. It is an illusion. They are literally creating a version of events and reality that is not true, and it's very hard to go through. They will also be, and they have always been, lining up new supply, right? This is one of the hardest things that we find unimaginable. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I broke up with my ex, and within 2 weeks, he'd moved another woman into his place, and we lived together. And I was, I mean, I'm not going to go into the story here, but I mean, it was just devastating to me. Yeah. And they've been lining up the supply all along. Yeah. These are not new relationships. They have an agenda, narcissists. They are insatiable in their appetite for attention and other people's energy. So they are always lining up new sources of supply. And this can be really hard for people to imagine because it's just so unlike what healthy people would do. Yeah, the level of betrayal that goes on in this dynamic, right? And you know, because the narcissist is often so dramatic, You know, they will play the victim to you. They will like emotionally manipulate you and act as if they're really hurt by things, or, you know, that because we can mistake their behavior for actual care. Like, you know, if they get very jealous, we can say, well, because he just loves me so much, that's why he gets jealous. No, he's just a possessive control freak if he's a narcissist, right? Or she. And so, like, because the narcissist will fake their values and, you know, pretend so much of the you know, they will just do what suits them in the relationship to get what they want out of you, basically. So we can be quite shocked about the level of web of supply that they actually do like have around them, but they do. Yeah. And it can be shocking. You can think, how on earth did this happen? Especially, you could be with the narcissist a lot, right? You could be like I was, living with them. They are master manipulators and masters at what they do. So another thing to prepare yourself for is they can do a smear campaign. They're going to distort other people's perception of you and the reality of what happened, as they've done to you in the relationship. And I mean, with a narcissist, you're very unlikely to be their only source of supply. Whether they're actually sleeping with that person or not is irrelevant. They're not, and I mean, and this happens even with parents, you know, like, even if you were what's called the golden child, right? When they're ready to discard you, they'll go on to another child or a friend, or, you know, they have other sources of supply, all of them. They have no boundaries and no limits to how awful they'll be. And I've coached a lot of people through divorce and, you know, dealing with a narcissist on co-parenting, things like that, right? They don't care about the children, for example, often when it gets to the point, like, they're not thinking about what's best for the child, what's best for you. They're thinking about punishing you, because a narcissist, that is big for narcissists. Like, they love to punish you for what you've done. They are right, remember. Like, it doesn't matter how terribly they've behaved to you. They feel like you deserve to be punished, right? For not being what they needed you to be. So it's all about punishing you. They'll use children as pawns. They'll distort the child's perception of you. So common. It's brutal. It's really brutal, right? And so be prepared for that. And again, it's very hard for a child, if they have a perception of their parent, to see that isn't true, right? So it's not always about trying to tell your children, depending on their age, it's sensitive, like, depending on their ages and stuff, but it is about just try and keep the best relationship you can with your children if you're going through that, right? If it's possible. So often a narcissist will take the children away from you if they can, because it's power, manipulation and control, right? See my last video. So they get hit on that. Yeah, they don't care what's best for the children often. They care what's best for their ego, and, you know, they get energy. They feel powerful when they have power over you, which is what I was talking about in the last video. So get yourself prepared. Tips for dealing with that is knowing what you want, right? If you're breaking up with a narcissist, if you're going through a divorce, if you're separating, know what you want. Get very clear. Do not get into emotional discussions with narcissists, especially, you know, if you're going towards a final discard, right? Or you're deciding to leave them. It's not worth it. They're going to try and emotionally manipulate you, trying to get them to see the truth, since they don't care about the truth. They care about getting what they want and hurting you. This is what they're about. This is what a trauma bond's about. They want to hurt you. My brother actually said that to me. And he said, like, I want to hurt you. I mean, it was so uncalled for, but he was telling the truth. He's a complete narcissist, and his agenda is that he gets off on it, right? So if you're going through things where you've got to sort out, I don't know, it could be your housing, could be your finances, could be divorce, all that stuff. Just try and, like, you know, process your emotions, but then get very factual about it. And don't try and minimize what you want. So much of my clients, because they know the narcissist and they're scared of the narcissist, right? They will actually go for less than what they could go for sometimes, or be, you know, thinking that they have to, because they think, well, the narcissist is so destructive, they could get in the way of me having the house, they could get in the way. And actually, a lot of that is fear. So don't give the narcissist power here, right? A lot of the times when I've been coaching people and help them get what they want, actually, they could get a lot more than they thought, but they've been so conditioned to be afraid of the narcissist and afraid of the powerful narcissist that they like think they have to just scurry away, right, with nothing. Now, sometimes it's better to cut your losses and just go. I've done that several times after leaving narcissist. It was just better for me. But sometimes it's not. Especially not if you've got joint finances and children involved. So be very clear on the ideal situation. Just if you could take out all of the stuff and just think about, ideally, how would I want this to be resolved and settled? Now, you can't change the narcissist. So I don't suggest you think, well, the narcissist would fall in love with me or be a great parent if they're not, or you know what I mean? But think about what you want, strip all the emotion out of it when you're dealing with them. Don't let them emotionally manipulate and gaslight you. You can say things like, that's not how I see it. Don't give away your cards too soon if you are going through a divorce and stuff. Deal with it professionally, go through the courts, but like know that you do have rights. And if the clearer you are on what you want, right, not what you think you can have because you've been brainwashed by a narcissist to be disempowered, but actually get educated on what you can have, and go for it. Very factually, very matter of fact. Don't let them emotionally manipulate you. Don't let them put you into fear. Don't let them try and guilt trip you, right? All the things that they're great at doing. Yeah, they will try and punish you, but it doesn't mean they can. Yeah, so many of my clients have ended up getting the settlements they want, or getting the house, after a separation and stuff, after the narcissist has scared them and threatened them and all sorts of things, right? So actually know what they can do and what they can't do, and don't let your fear take over the show. Know that they're going to spin you around and hurt you emotionally, and that can be so shocking and horrifying to us. No matter what we've been through in the relationship, how they end it can be so brutal, can be so shocking still, even after we've dealt with them, that can again not confuse us and not make us see what we actually can do, right, in certain situations. And sometimes the thing you can do is leave, is just cut your losses and leave. Sometimes the things you can do is fight for what you actually want and not let them deter you, right? Because they will make all sorts of threats, and often you have to really just decide what's best for you overall. Yeah, because it depends on who you're dealing with and the circumstances. I don't want to say something that would put anyone in danger, so you have to just mitigate your loss on that and go to the authorities and go to people that can help you. And I know that they'll try and manipulate everyone around you, right? That's what they do, but still you do have rights, and the more certain and clear on what you want, the more determined you are to get it, the more you don't let yourself go on the emotional roller coaster, distance yourself from them and their rubbish as you're dealing with any kind of final discard or breakup, that kind of stuff, the better. So I hope you like this video. Please keep liking, subscribing and sharing. If you join Sovereign today, it's the last day, you'll get a free 90-minute session with me. Lots of love, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.